think staying clean is it's important, obviously. When you're not using, yes. I mean, I know you guys early in my learning how to just survive every day without drugs. That was very, very important. I don't know where you guys are at in your journey, but at one point it wasn't the most important thing. And hopefully you guys can get there eventually. But the important thing, right now the most important thing for me every day is how do I get that, especially being 100% plugged in my church. I attend church right here at Merton, APC. I meet there every Sunday. We go to church in the bar. It's a campus of South Hills. South Hills, we mentioned South Hills. I don't know if you guys are still affiliated with them, but very growing. The reason I'm attracted to a church in the bar is because I grew up in a church and I didn't like it. So I guess I'll start there and say that since I can remember, I grew up in a Christian household. I mean, my parents aren't divorced. I wasn't beaten. My parents were not alcoholics. They were drug addicts. I had every advantage in life that you could possibly. I lived in a nice house. I went to a private school. I didn't have to work in high school. But I still became an addict. And there's reasons for that as I look back and try to figure out why and what happened and where life went sideways. But, and I figured out the reason, and I don't know what I wanted to do. I was born and raised here in Southern California, went to private schools. My dad was a CEO, very high up, executive in banks and different things. So I never really worried where anything was coming from. Like I said, I had a really good childhood. And I think you guys can understand one thing, that even with all those advantages, I still felt like I didn't know. And that's through all of my rehabs and different things and being around other addicts, and I understand that's kind of a common thread with us all, is that no matter where we're at, we could be in a room full of other addicts, we could be in a room full of presidents and CEOs, I just don't feel like an outsider. And since I've worked on that and changed, but so growing up, I was an athlete. Played all the sports I could in high school. Just wanted to stay busy, but I like competition. I still do very competitive. But even with that, I wanted to be the best. There wasn't anything that I didn't want to do that I could have to do. Whatever I got involved with, and if I couldn't be the best at it, I would say that's. And so I think that lends to itself to our addictive personality. It's like if I'm paying % on it at all times, what good is it to me? Even in high school, we always went to church. I led Bible studies at my high school. I was kind of involved in, just the picturesque way you think you want to, the way you think you want to go through life, especially early. But with football, I wanted to get a scholarship and go to college. And but I wanted to get away. That was still part of me. I didn't like doing that. I didn't like my parents. There was just something wrong. And I didn't know what it was, but I just wanted to leave. So I picked for the school away where I could possibly go to that was offering me a scholarship. So I went to Kansas, a school in Kansas, not Kansas. I lasted there for a second, one semester. as soon as I had any freedom, it was ping pong and drinking and everything you could do in college, except go to school. And so my parents were paying for the school, half of it, and then doing scholarship the other half. And so we come back after Christmas break, and I started, football-wise, I was going to have a good career there football-wise, since I was already started. So I knew like my future was going to be okay there, but I was trying to sabotage it, But it's like I come back and they see my grades, and it was a private school as well. It was a Christian school, and so I flunked chapel. Like you had to go to chapel like a minimum amount of 13 times, and I went to 9. And when the whole school was in chapel, I'd be off doing something else. So it was always like just running away from whatever I did. So I just abandoned that. Get back home, enroll in RCC, right? But I don't play football. At that point, I'm done with football. It became a job, and I think that might have to do with some of my attitude about other things. So I'm 20 years old, 19 years old. 19 was terribly short. I mean, the more 19-year-olds I meet, the more I just go, I'm so sorry. that age, man, I got back, I enrolled in RCC, just dropped out of the other school, dropped the scholarship, found a couple things, like classes and stuff, just some creative outlets. I wasn't a musician yet. I was dabbling. I knew something. I mean, my dad and my uncles, they were all musicians, so it was always a learning. But I wasn't a serious musician until later. But so I was bored. And we all know that on that much. I was just miserable. I was going to school for what? What was I going to school for? I don't know. I didn't have any focus. I didn't have any plan. Not having a plan. This guy's always saying. Not having purpose. Not having something to strive for, to work for. That's one of the things that I am always constantly harping on myself to have. Now, why am I doing this? Why am I getting up today? If I don't know why I'm getting up today, it's probably going to end like I'm happy the day and it's happened. So back to not having a plan, going to school for what, working at Best Buy for what, I don't know. And so start going to parties with the guys at Best Buy, and I still remember, the house party on the garage, there's playing pot and pong and all these things. And so that's how I started. I never really had a problem with alcohol. It was always the drugs, and so started there. Just started picking it up here and there. You know how it starts. You don't start sprinting right away. I was an amateur at the time. I get professional status 2 years later. Got into debt. I had a car that was worth $2,000 with a $6,000 sound system. So that was like my first big debt. And I still remember my dad did everything he could to teach me and to show me the way to do things. They never really had been. Just nothing took. Nothing. Everything my dad taught me. Nothing took. And so I remember him counting on the steering wheel because I just got $4,000 or $5,000 in debt at 19 years old. It's like, how good can my life be after this? It's like. So I had to drop out of school, pay bills, and still living at my mom and dad's house, using, and then just using pot here and there. But it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And then I'm working at Best Buy, and just lost. However, I'm still a Christian at this point, and I have been for many years since I can remember. I've never not been a Christian. So still. The one thing throughout this whole journey that I'm always thankful for, because I was a Christian before and after, is that I was was still able, even in the depths of what I was going through, and I felt alone, I still was able to speak up and talk about it. What can I do? Give me something. And I remember at Best Buy at night, closing out, I'm working in the car on the audio department. I don't know if you guys remember this at the Best Buy Riverside, the car audio department. This little kiosk thing where it has like little pictures and albums where you can push, to play music through the speakers to test out the equipment. So I've always been a big fan of music, and so I'm just looking through these and what's catching my eye. I'm just bored, and nobody's coming to talk to me, buy anything, do anything. So I see this guy with a guitar on the album cover. So I hit it, and I go back to the computer, and I just get lost. Like, totally lost in this music. And I have never heard this before. And for some reason, nobody came to talk to me, nobody bothered me, nobody interrupted me. I just sat there. I think after that, I was about something like that. When the album was done, I decided that I wanted to play guitar for real. I wanted to actually study it and try to become a musician.
What was the album?
It was Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas Flood. Yep. So I had a guitar. I had an electric guitar, and so some of my dad's equipment. And I just, typical addict status, I went home and I did nothing for a year, except I went to work, came home, and I did nothing but practice. 6 hours, 5 hours a day, just playing the album, buying books, completely obsessed, and then at the time, ramping up, because the pot makes you play that. So, and I could hear more, all that crappy type of stuff. So that increased, and then I made some friends, musical friends, and then just started smoking more, and then changed jobs, and was working out in, living at my parents' house in Corona, working out in Torrance, and at a 5 a.m. start time. So I am going to bed at 7:30, waking up at 3:30, I couldn't do a wake and bake because I'm living up here at my parents' house. So I go to the Walmart parking lot, smoke 2 joints, drive around. I end up being 400 pounds at some point, just like 6 months ago. So my eating career started at this point. So this is when all of my addictions flared up, was at this point. And was when I had this job, and I had the habit of waking up, going to the Walmart parking lot, blazing a couple bowls of joints, whatever I had, driving through McDonald's, going to go to work. Then because I started at 5, my lunch was at 9, so I can't have real lunch, so it's an hour lunch, so I go and smoke again, and then I go to McDonald's again. And then on the way home at 2:30, 3 o'clock, smoke again, drive to McDonald's again. And then, yes, then I would go home and practice for like 5 hours, and then go see my friend for like a couple hours, smoke some more, then eat McDonald's again. It was like 4 or 5 times a day. This was just the cycle. And, yeah, and it didn't matter. Like at some point, I tried to buy like good stuff to think I could smoke less. But I didn't know. It didn't matter. Whatever I had to smoke that much. Didn't matter how powerful it was. Didn't matter how bad it was, how good it was. This is what I needed to smoke. So I just bought crap so I could smoke all day and not care about how much it cost. So this is kind of when things get foggy. The timeline here was, okay, I meet Christy, my wife now. I meet her. Throughout this whole thing, I'm complaining to my sister. Nobody loves me, but I'm a completely unlovable person. This guy back then, 21 years old. Who would love this guy, this person who's doing all of this, who hates himself? And so, obviously, I'm not dating anybody or having any prospects because of my habits, and I don't like myself. And so, playing to her and then my sister just shut me up and said, well, Christy has a crush on you, so just shut up. And I was like, who? Who is this? And she explained who she was. Well, she's the little redheaded girl, and that we did this little singing group with. And I was like, really? Interesting. How old is she now? She's 17. Close enough. So, to make it, because she came from a Christian home, and I came from a Christian home. Our first date was with my parents. We went to an Angel game for 4th of July, and that was so. Needless to say, everything went really well, and so we're married now. But there's a reason Christy ran friends and family group here, and she's heavily involved here. Because if she was here, she would agree. And I've said this in front of you before, but she's as sick as I am. Except that I used drugs. Drugs were my, well, you'll find out eventually that painkillers, I ended up using painkillers. So painkillers were my drug of choice. Christy's drug of choice was she's very codependent. We both, on a daily basis, struggle with this in our family, in our marriage. And so it's, and I end up, I will tell you as well, along with the pill addiction, drug addiction, I have a food addiction. And so her addiction is me, and when one of my addictions is food, it's torture every day. It's like, because she lives with her drug, and I have to consume my drug every day, one of my drugs every day, just to survive. So, and looking back, and I've seen all the signs, now that I look back, about her obsessing over me, and I thought it was just cute that she wanted to spend every weekend home with me. But, now it started getting annoying, I started pushing her away, started using drugs some more. But at the time I was just a pothead. So we broke up. I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. And then my parents, she found out that I was smoking pot, and my parents, I moved out of my parents' house. That was at this point. And then, so she found out, my mom found out, and my mom is just as sick as my wife, and they broke into my apartment, to try to find pot. Seriously, that was their big obsession. Really, I wasn't even using real drugs yet, and they break into my apartment and tear the place apart. And at the time, I was renting half a house, so I call it an apartment, but it was like a duplex. They just closed off the hallway. I had a bathroom and 2 bedrooms where they turned one into blah, blah, blah. Okay, too many details. But, so they break into this place, and because I was sharing a house with somebody, I hid my stash in the,
nice that.
Yeah, I hid my stash in the coffee, so you couldn't smell it. And so they didn't find it, but they tore my place apart, and then but they found my rolling papers, and I had a stuffed animal from when I was a kid that was and they put it in the butt of the thing just to prove a point. It's like, why'd you break into my place? You didn't find anything. Over pot, seriously. But like I said, their obsession was me, so any behavior, they justify it, just like we justify anyone about it. So that was interesting. And so eventually we go through family counseling, which I just go to get them to shut up, and I go through the motions, and I'm the good son, I put on the face, and everyone's happy, and we get married. And so, but to her parents' credit, they said, we're not paying for anything, because we don't agree with this marriage. They knew. My parents were like, well, we'll just do it, it's fine. So they helped us get married, and we got married, and I'm very grateful that we are married today, because that's one of the things that I would never change. But so we get married, and because I'm living with her, I don't, the pot smoking kind of goes away, now I'm busy, now I have a wife, and I have a real full-time job. I'm working for my brother-in-law at a construction company. And so, and then I'm going to switch gears and talk about my grandma for reasons that will be very obvious later. My grandfather died. My grandma was alone. She fell, she hurt her head. She went up north to live with my uncle. And so, but before she moved up north, I was just rummaging through her cabinets, trying to find, because I had a headache, trying to find some ibuprofen or aspirin or something. And I found something that says Asby. Okay. So I grabbed a couple, and I really liked those pills. But something that it wasn't. This was more than pot. This was more than anything I ever done. I even tried coke one time just because somebody had it when I was hanging out. But I took 2 of these pills and I was like, that's not it. I felt the principle. And all it took was 2. She had probably the most powerful, the Norcos, the yellow one. Sorry.
It's making me want to go out.
No.
But I was, I knew I wanted more, but I wasn't ready to take it all. So, but moving forward, every time I went over to see her, I'd find an excuse to go to the bathroom and take a couple, and ended up being 2 and then 4. Eventually, it was starting to get out of hand. I don't quite remember a lot back then. I had so much going on as far as the progression, but she moved up north, so it went away. Because I didn't pursue it. I still, even at the height, I never had the balls to go on the street to get any street cred. So, that's what we break towards my sheltered childhood. So I didn't want to go talk to anybody on the street. So she moved up north, and then I had this construction job, and my grandma falls, right? And my uncle can't take care of her. My mom is retired at this point. So my grandma, and it's a big old thing. She's in the hospital, she has hip surgery, and then my mom says, just have her come down here and I'll take care of her while she recovers. So I get the news that my grandma's back in town, and why don't you come visit her at my mom's house? So I walk in, and I'll never forget this, ever. Like, there's kitchen, they're out back talking, and on the bar in the kitchen is this pill bottle like bigger than this. Like, it's like the pharmaceutical ones, the white ones you can't see through. And I was like, what the heck is that? And nobody's home, right? Nobody's inside, and so I open it up, and it's full of the yellow pills. It's literally full of the yellow pills. I was like, oh, cool. I wasn't excited yet. Looking back, I would have probably taken that and said, where'd it go? But I just took a handful in my pocket. I didn't count them. I didn't do anything. And then I started to take, just take a couple here, and just eventually needed them to wake up. Needed them to do anything, needed them to work. I was working construction, so it's very physically active, lifting stuff and doing things. And like I said, they make me feel invincible. Normally people take these pills and they can't do anything. They're like passed out. They're not. And these, for some reason, my brain is wired a certain way. It was like speed, and it was like doing a speedball. Like I didn't feel any pain, and I couldn't stop moving, and I couldn't sleep, and I would sweat. So it was perfect for my job, and so I just started supplementing. Every time I had something to do, I'd take 2, and I would be able to do the job faster than anybody, better than anybody. And so I started ramping up and taking those pills, and eventually, 4 at a time, 6 at a time, 8 at a time, and then I would run out, and then that would happen. Then I would kick for 2 days at home by myself, and just not even telling anybody, just in a bad mood. And then eventually picking up my grandma's prescriptions from Walgreens as her grandson. I was her grandson. And then my mom would call me, did you pick up your grandma's prescription? No, what are you talking about? That's not me. I didn't think so, it's okay. Somebody did. She might have a problem. She might have a problem, Mom, you're right. So, I'm in Corona, my grandma's living in Riverside. I was like, you know, it would be a great idea. I'll just move her prescription to Corona and pick it up. So I did that, picked it up, had a good couple of weeks. But my mom called me again and was like, did you pick up your grandma's prescription? Because it was in Corona, like the Walgreens right by your house. Of course I lied. No. Why are you asking me this? I'm busy, I'm at work. Okay, I think her friend picked it up for her because she was staying with a friend in Riverside. And I was like, oh, that worked out well. So my mom was covering for her. And they were living together, and, you know, you're living with somebody that's got a deal. But, so I got away with that. Then I went to go try it again the next month, right? And then they said, I went to go pick it up, and let me see your ID. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, only Vera and Robert's are picking these up. So now they did that. They did that to me. They did that to me. And then, so now I have to go see them and try to steal them from after running their nose. That I wasn't going to stop. These were awesome. I needed these pills. And so just to give you an example of how far I got, showing up, stealing handfuls, taking, I was talking about 4, 5, 6 at a time. That wasn't even the beginning of how many I was taking. Eventually started taking at a time. My grandma started living on her own, by herself, and I would drive out to see her to go visit my grandma because I'm a good grandson. And I would show up and just take all of her things. She started getting fentanyl patches, which is for opioid tolerant people. Because obviously she was taking too many. This whole time I let my family think that she had a drug problem. Wow. Because I was taking her pills and she was running out every month, like a week. She wouldn't have her pills for a week and then she'd call my mom and say, I'm out. Grandma, you have a problem. No, I'm not doing anything. And then my mom would call me and I would co-sign that bullshit right out of the back. Say, yes, you're right, she has a problem, as I'm counting the pills that I used to do. So eventually she got these fentanyl patches and oxys and whatever she had it to. And it got to the point where I wasn't even worried about leaving her anything anymore. She had like 2 months supply of fentanyl patches. And these things, I figured out that I could freebase them. That there are these little patches with gel in them, and I did the research, and you have to get it in your blood system somehow. So there's a little patch, and the gel would absorb into your skin. And I was like, okay, well, can I just ingest the gel? And they said no, because your stomach acid will kill it. I was like, okay. And so the gel came out, and I was like, I know tinfoil, because I used to make tinfoil pipes for my weed. I was like, all right. Yeah, I was an idiot. I didn't even know. I wouldn't even go buy a pipe so my mom could find it. I would make a pipe so I could throw it away. So I was scared of my parents. But so I learned to freebase this stuff, and it got really scary. Like, this stuff is like 10 times more powerful than heroin in its gel form. I've heard some people inject it, some people put it in their gums, but I didn't want to put it in. I just like to smoke stuff. If I can smoke it, I'll smoke it. I used to smoke cigarettes and all these things. So I went through 3 patches in the night. I remember just standing there. And what made it even worse, and to tell you how low I got was, I was out of work when this was happening. This was, remember I was working construction, and the housing crash happened in 2007. Like towards the end of 2007, my company I was working for really felt it because we were doing all brand new homes, KB homes, Centex homes, and so it was ramping down before 2008, before everyone else felt it. So at the end of 2007, I was out of work. That's when I was driving out to my grandma's house, taking everything she had, taking all the fentanyl patches. So my wife, bless her heart, she got a full-time job working at night. So if I got a job, the kids wouldn't have to go anywhere. Or the kid, we had Brianna, my eldest, was the only one that was around at this time. And so I have a 2-year-old daughter at home, and so my wife is going to work at night. During the day, I'm looking for a job, and so I would either smoke the patches if I had them, which is probably once or twice a month. But I would take ungodly amounts of these pills. I got up to taking 13, 16, 18 at a time. This is the only thing that would get me out. And I got to actually absorb, dissolving them in the hot water. They would hit me faster instead of my stomach dissolving them in the water, dissolving them. And so I would just get high, put my daughter in front of the television at night, go outside, smoke, play video games, do nothing except just hang out and get high. Why my 2-year-old daughter's in front of the television in her room doing nothing. And that still breaks my heart to this day because I'm an engaged father now, and I see how awesome my 2-year-old son is. Just think back to that and saw that. My eldest daughter, my wife is always telling me she won't remember, but still bothers me. So I'm out of work. I'm kind of looking for work, and then somebody finds a job with this financial company, and so this guy think about this version of Brian. This guy who's doing 45, 50 pills a day, not wanting to do anything, he's going to be a financial advisor. So that was a great idea, right? Outside the family, everyone's like, you could do it. You're a good sales guy, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. So, but I'm like, we have bills, and I actually need to work. And so my father-in-law stepped up to the plate, which he does every time. I love that. He said, I'll pay your bills for 3 months. And my dad paid for my schooling and all my tests. So, but it's up to me to study for 8 hours a day. Because the goal is just to get this done, 3 months, short sprint, get my, I forget what it's called, but the broker license, and also the insurance license. I got to get those 2 things in 3 months. And it's literally like 100, it's so many hours of studying. And so I am studying. I'm actually doing the work while using like this. There's a interesting story. There's a week-long recap or like a tutoring session down in San Diego, right? So they're like, oh, let's pay for a hotel, right? You stay down there for a week, and so I go to like 2 days of the class, and then I stay until I play video games. So that didn't work out too much. But so fast forward, I have the day of the test. I have been working hard, but not as hard as I could have. If this guy was studying for that test, he would have passed it. So I take the test. I'm the first one to finish. I'm always it's how I test, but I go and ask how I did, and I failed. But not only did I fail, I literally missed it by one question. One question. And I look back, and that was God, like saying, no, you need to go further. Like either you need to go down further, or this isn't for you, or whatever it is. But I look back and I realize that that's the moment where, if we talk about spirals, and I'm just doing this, right, at this point. Once that day hit, it was like this, right? I mean, it was another 6 months before I actually went to rehab, but it was like, God was like, it's time, let's put the pedal down, we need to almost die. Now, where I'm at now, I understand what the plan is, his plan. So I'm beating the steering wheel, I'm just crying, screaming, cursing God. Like, I never said things like this to God ever. Just, why? That guy didn't understand. I didn't. But, so, my family says, okay, you did so well, you were so close. Let's try it again. So we do it all again. And now I'm done. Like I'm just using this time to get high school. That's my all through every other thing is gone. I'm not studying. I'm barely studying. And I go through the motions of the test again, and now I flunked by like 30 questions. It's like, and so again, I'm taking 45, 65 pills a day, and I actually go back to the construction company the summer of 2009. Time went so fast, obviously, but not 2000, whatever. So I go back to work there, and now I'm on a tightrope of trying to maintain it. Like, I can't get high enough anymore because my pills are running out. The doctors, I went around to 3 or 4 doctors to find pills, and they stopped giving me pills. It's interesting because I started using at the height of, if you think of the 2000s, before doctors actually started realizing that they were giving out too many pills. Like, you started reading articles, like you type in pain medication and doctors are Google. And you start seeing in 2008, 2009, they started realizing, like, how many people are ODing on these things? Like, these are a problem. And so I picked it up at the height. The doctors were just giving them out like there was a problem. It's a little harder to get them now. And so they started cutting me off. My family was fed up with my grandma having a problem. So they started picking her medication up and talking to her doctor. So she was only getting enough to take 4 a day, not 24 a day. So there was still a little conscience going on, so I couldn't take all of her stuff still, but I still was kind of taking all of her stuff. And eventually it got so bad where I would, the last time I took all of her bottle, I was like, I did the whole thing, the whole addict thing. I went into the bathroom and I started counting on my thing and out. Okay, this is this day, this day, this day. I'm good for like 2 weeks. Like, I'll be able to do it for 2 weeks. All of that counted. It was 2 days of pills. Like, I took them all in 2 days. It was like, I think, probably not 2. It was less than a week, way less than a week. It should have been 2 weeks, and it was like 3 or 4 days. I mean, I took like 320 pills, like they were gone. It was scary, and so I was out. And I went to the dentist for something, and I got one little prescription bottle, and they gave me 28 pills of like not even the good ones, just like to me not good ones. You know, the 5 milligram, like right Vicodin. Not the Norcos. And so I was like, okay, do I count these out? Do I try to maintain? Or do I just get high as heck right now and take them all? And I still remember dissolving all 28 pills into the water and taking them. That was like the last time I took Norcos. And I didn't get high. Nothing happened. And I was so pissed. And so I'm working back at a job where I didn't want to be, making half the money I used to make. My wife's working at night. I had all these failures that year. Just low. I was gone. I was done. I was completely done. Just with life. And so I had been like 3 or 4 days without pills, without any, like that was the last time I took any, and I started getting numb, like I couldn't feel anything, like everything was gray, and then I'm working with sharp tools and things, and then I start cutting it myself, and I start feeling this, like I got high, like I cut my hand open, and I got high, and I was like, that was pretty cool, like, what just happened? And so I start doing it some more, and then my boss catches me, and luckily I'm working for my brother-in-law. He's not my boss, but my boss's boss. And they go tell him, they pull me out of the shop and call my family. My brother-in-law drives me home. And my family makes the decision that they check me into the psych ward. They really don't know that I have, they still, at this point, don't know that I have any problem with pain medication. And they finally find out because I break down 3 hours into being in a psych ward, which was hell, by the way, in there with homeless people that are just freaking out. And, I'm this little, sheltered white boy in this psych ward with like people that I've never been around before, and just freaking out. They finally said, can we give you some medication before you can finish medication? I'm like, yes, and give me whatever you can give me. And they just knocked me out because they could see I'm really sparking, like ramping up. And so finally they said, why are you here? And I said, well, I'm depressed and I'm cutting on myself. And they said, is there anything else? Just think about it. I mean, they've seen enough of this story to figure it out. There's something else going on. I said, I have a drug problem. So will you take it? I said, I told them, okay, you want help with that? What do you mean? They're like, well, we have places we can send you, rehab, different things. Like, yes. And so finally my mom and my dad and my wife come in and they have a talk with everybody, and I finally tell them that the grandma didn't have a drug problem. I have a drug problem. Everything. So we're like, okay, they were just glad that it wasn't like I'm going to kill myself. That's depression, just depression, and I'm trying to kill myself. So they send me to a county rehab facility, a Cedar House in Riverside, and that was culture shock because it's basically jail light, like county jail light. It's basically the Prop 36 guys. It's 36. Instead of going to jail, they go to Prop 36. Yeah, and so you don't realize that some of these guys plead down to drug possession and go to rehab that are trying to get sent up for violent crime or stealing cars or whatever. So I'm like bunking and hanging out with guys that I never would have been associated with because of who I am. I'm a nice guy. I'm better than that, right? So that was culture shock, and I was there for 21 days, and then they said, do you want more help? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to go home. And at the time, I didn't like being at home. I didn't like my wife. I didn't like my kids. I just wanted to be away. And that was what I was doing. Was getting away from everything. And so, I need help. Obviously, I need help. So another one, another county one, and then eventually my parents paid for me to go to Whiteside, Riverside. It cost them like $3,000 a month. And so I'm doing well. But I have a cell phone. They allowed me to have a cell phone. And so I call my grandma. I'm in rehab, my parents are paying me for everything. And I'm like, my grandma's probably pretty stocky now. So I call my grandma. I said, Grandma, it's terrible here. I laid it on her. I just get to her and she came with me. And so I need to live with you. So basically I left rehab to go live with my dealer. Is what I just did.
The unknown dealer, now granted.
Yeah. And so it was like 3 or 4 days before I even figured it out. To their credit, they didn't come and storm down the door. I'm thankful that there is Al-Anon and programs like yours. They started getting educated when I was in rehab about what they were actually doing to who I was. their obsession with me and them using me as their drug. So they left me alone. It was hard, it was how ridiculous they were. Do not just call the cops or anything. Because at this point, remember, I told them everything. I told them that I was taking pills for them. When my mom did call my grandma and say, he's taking pills for you, you know this, right? And the grandma is, my grandma is still the biggest, like, codependent person I know. Like, I can say anything and do anything and she will me. I've never seen anything. I can tell her, I'm taking your pills, okay. You know, I mean, it almost got to that point. And because this is how awesome it got for her codependency. Because I went to a couple doctors again in her area. They gave me a couple prescriptions. And the one thing I was doing was because I was smoking really heavily, it always sounded like I had bronchitis. So I'd go into any doctor and say I'm sick. And then I would ask for the cough syrup that had hydrocodone in it, not codeine, because the codeine doesn't work, right? I want the stuff with the hydrocodone in it, so I just drink a whole bottle of that. And so all that ran out, and then I'm like kicking, I'm sweating. It's like in the middle of summer, and my grandma's smoking friggin' Marlboro 100 lights, and those things, they smell so bad. But she's blowing in my face, and I'm like, Grandma, do you have any pills? Like the first time I even mentioned the word pills to her, I still was taking from her, but we didn't have the discussion. And so I said, Grandma, I'm still using. She was like, but I'm out. I don't. And I laid it on her again. I was like, I don't want to go on the street with heroin. So she was like, I need, just give me 8 pills. Just give me 8 pills. And she's like, okay, you go outside. I want you to see where they're at. And so they were literally behind the chair I was sitting in the cabinet, because I could hear her getting into there. I'm out in the garage, and my ears, it's so sick. My ears against the door, I'm like, where is she? So I find them. I find her bottle of pills, and I go at it again. And then, but my wife, the whole time, she's like, if you're ready to come home, just let me know, and we'll work it out. It's like, okay, I'm still not ready. So finally, like I said the cigarette smoke story a little early, but I'm just sitting there, high as a kite, sweating. It's the middle of summer. My grandma doesn't run her air conditioning. So I'm sitting there without a shirt on in my underwear. My grandma's sitting next to me. We're both smoking. She's blowing this garbage in my face. And I'm going, what the F am I doing? Like, what am I, right? My wife is pregnant right now. Right? She was pregnant with my second. And I have a 3-year-old at home, 4-year-old at home, something like that. And just listening to music, and I cry myself to sleep, and I'm like, I'm completely miserable. It's like there is nothing, I can't do this. And so I just texted her, I said, I'm ready to come home, let me know what I need to do. To her credit, she didn't text me right back. She let me sit for 2 days. And then she goes, all right, let's meet, let me come over. She wanted to see me, you know. And so, well, at this point, you know, fast forward, you know, I come home. But I'm still not done. My second, I come home, and my chest is killing me. Like I cannot breathe. And what opiates do to you is they repress your respiratory system. And I'm smoking like a pack a day. I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting around doing nothing. And so this crap is just sitting in my lungs. And I end up having very severe pneumonia. And I was using these pills to quell the pain, but I'm out. And then, so the first night, I'm home, we're laying next to Christy, and I'm kicking, because it's only been a couple days. And so I'm like just in pain, and I'm like, I can't breathe. And so she takes me to the ER, they admit me, and they don't know what's going on, but it ends up that I have pneumonia, like severe. Like I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. That's how bad it was. And I'm still a full-fledged addict, professional. So I manipulate the doctors into giving me the maximum amount of Dilaudid they can give me, like every 2 hours, just bang, bang, bang. And so I'm just sitting there, and I was okay, all 2 weeks, happy as a clam in the hospital. And then they send me home, and I'm like, what are you sending me home with? Like, what else could I get? And they're like, we're not sending you home with anything except I still had 10 pills stashed at home somewhere. I knew that. As soon as I get home from the hospital, everyone's there. I just go to the bathroom and I pound those and I come out and I'm okay. It's just and so, but I'm home now. My wife starts taking me to we start going to church again in South Hills. But eventually, I mean, that was like the last time I really used. I mean, I used 6 months later. I found some more pills at a relative's house. But the obsession started getting lifted because I started getting involved in church, like fully. Like there was a moment where I was like, this was just all crazy. I was, I had a poor daughter, and okay, what am I doing? Like again, I'm asking myself again, what am I doing? Should I just leave again? I mean, I just want to come back. You know, I'm completely confused, but I know that I don't want to do that anymore. I remember just laying in one of my grandma's guest rooms, just crying, just like, I just thought to myself, I started doing one thing that changed my life, and that is, I remember in rehab, they said, play the tape all the way through, you know, videotapes like that, like what's going to happen if you continue to do this. And I condensed it down to 2 words, and I asked myself, no matter what it is, even be alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, I said, then what? Then what? Like, okay, let's go do this. Then what? You know where you end up. Then what? And so that has been hugely powerful. As soon as I started asking myself that question, my life started to get better. So I went, I found a job again. But again, I think the number one thing that I did, asking myself that question, and going to church every week, but not just showing up and going home. Like I started serving. I started getting involved in different ministries. What am I good at? I want to go do that. I want to help here. I want to help here. Ended up starting playing with the worship team again. And the Hotel on the Mountain video, that's kind of what I started doing again. It was only a year into my being clean, that video. Only a year and a half of this. Again, all this time I need to time it out. I got to tell the story. That's when I started going, okay, I want to play again. Like, throughout all of this, I'd never been a serious musician. I just was a blues guy. I was just learning stuff note for note. And I was terrible. Just not good. And so even the Hotel on the Mountain video, that was me just doing what I know how to do at church through the guitar. Like I didn't really get myself over to being a worship guitarist. But I'll tell you how powerful being connected at church, not just showing up, not just serving, but developing relationships with people that are there. To this day, you know, if you show up on a Sunday, you'll see that, you know, I'm up on stage, but I don't just go backstage and hibernate and talk to anybody. I'm all over the place. I have 30, 40 friends over there. It's not because I'm better than anybody. It's not because of anything else. It's because I deliberately talk to these people every time and literally ask them about how the week went, connect with people. It's, for me, staying clean is about being connected to other God-centered people. Not about, yes, I went to meetings. I hated meetings. That's just me. And I told Sean, I said, Sean, I'll be real. You know, I'm not going to come in. It's about company stuff. I'm going to tell you what work for me. I hate meetings. For me, it's just a bunch of people who don't know how to live life complaining about life. And I want to be around people that are living a good life. I want to be around people that are Christ-centered. And I think what got me away from the meetings was because whenever I'd see a dinosaur come in, you know, a guy that had been here for 30 years, he would say, it was always, hi, my name is Joe, I'm an addict, and Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Like, well, I already have that. Why do I need to be here for 30 years to be a dinosaur to get that when I know exactly where to go with it? And that's my church. and I don't need to go to the meeting. I can go straight to my church. However, not every church is accepting to people like us. Not every church will allow us to tell our story. And so I found a church like that. And Southwest is one of those churches, no matter what campus. I just chose this one because it's in the bar. And my mission now in life is to help others who are like us, I'm not comfortable even going to Main Street, the main campus. I don't like going there because it's like kind of like Bridget and stuff, you know, more like church and bar kind of guy, you know, sit in the pews and play loud music and say crap, you know, and a little warm. It's just how we are. And so just find a place that you feel comfortable at. Find a place that you're able to, whoever you see, you can say, I'm thinking about using right now. And they're okay with it. They're not scared. Because either they've gone through it, or they truly have Christ in their heart. And they are people who will not shun away from knowing who you truly are. And so, if you are going to church now, great. If you aren't, get there. Get there. If you don't like a church, not all churches are like that. Come visit me on Sunday. I'll show you what works for you. And so I think, unless you guys have questions, I'm pretty much reached the end of it. But that's it for me. It's like we have to work. Going to meetings didn't work. Christ worked for me. Being involved with other people who love Christ, who are striving to be like Christ, which to me means I will meet you at where you're at. I don't care what you're thinking. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're high, drunk, stupid right now. It doesn't matter where you're at. And as long as you're willing to take a step towards getting clean, towards not hating your wife, towards not cheating, whatever, I'll be right by you. I'll be right by you. And I'll share my experience and tell you where to go, but I cannot help you get there. You need to go on your own. But I will be here for you. But I do not judge you for it. And I think finding those kind of people is
Questions, Brian?
yes.
What physical toll do these pills take on your body?
Well,
To be honest, bowel movements and seriously.
yeah, no,
Hey, you can't constipate. You can't.
I would have what I call dope babies, where you like labor for like 20 minutes, you take a crap, right? Yeah. You deliver dope babies. But I also itching, really super itchy, like all the time. Oh, sweat. You cannot, like I would be in this room, like I would literally be covered in sweat. Like you could be in 50-degree weather and I would still sweat.
The reason why I asked that physical question is that I know when the drinking binges on empty stomach, it wouldn't come out so pretty.
Yeah.
Hey, it affects what you do. You keep it real. And that's why I asked that question. Another question is, you got back from rehab back into your house with your family.
Mm-hmm.
What conviction or what led you to go to church? Because did she suggest it? And you went half-heartedly?
I already kind of knew I should be going. Like I said, I had an advantage because I was already saved, and I already knew that I had that kind of connection with God already. So I kind of knew that. So it helped me get there faster.
Sure, but she was the one talking.
I don't quite remember. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember. It was just a habit. It's just a habit that our family has. We go to church. So.
How long ago was it? You started going full time?
It's been since I got out of rehab. 3 years, 3.5 years. Yeah, 3.5 years. No, out of rehab is over 4. 3.5 is my clean date because it was February 1st. The last time I used. I took 12 pills.
2009?
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, I found it in one of my cousins had his molars taken out, or wisdom teeth taken out. And so I found those pills in his room, and I took 12. I got caught. That was fun. That was a fun phone call. There's 12 pills missing, and you were at our house.
Yeah, I didn't do the math.
Who took them?
Yeah, one thing that jumps out at me is a few things, but whatever our vice or our poison is, how manipulative
Yeah, basically,
Going to high?
no, I went to Riverside Christian High School.
Oh,
A little bit, private school. I mean, I lived out in McKinley from junior high to high school.
You know, one thing I want to share with everyone, because I'm preparing for this Sunday, and I'm trying to think about, you know, we have the opportunity to share what hope is with our church. What is hope? What's recovery? How do we get there? And you said something so important, that it's being together, being with the church. Well, what's the church? It's us.
Right now, it's here right now.
Exactly. And I have 3 scriptures I just want to leave you guys with, because if you don't believe me, look at these. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so you may be healed.
Where's that out of?
James 5:16. Okay, that's 2,000 years ago. Boom, there you go. They knew it back then. The prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. That's the same verse. Okay, and then Ecclesiastes 4:9. 2 people are better off than one. Why? For they can help each other. When one falls, the other one can help them, or reach down and help them. But if you fall alone, you're in real trouble. Okay, that makes sense. And then here, Galatians 6:1-2, it says, "Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by some sin," not a whole bunch, they don't say drugs, alcohol, just some. "You who are godly should gently, not shove the Bible up your rear end, but gently and humbly help that person. Help that person get back on the right path. Like you said, I'll show you the way. I'll love you exactly where you are. I'll point the way, but that's all I can do, guys. Okay, right. And be careful yourself, because it's what's going to happen. You get sober for a couple months, you're like, I can save the world. And then, no, you can't. That friend ends up pulling you guys down. And they don't even mean it. But it says, and be careful not to fall in the same temptation yourself. Share each other's burdens. In this way, you obey the law of Christ. And the law of Christ is love God and love others. That's why hope works. That's why God works. He knew it way back then.
I think one of the key things for me too is my life is so out of balance. And I think when you're in addiction, your life is completely out of balance. One thing or the other. There's one extreme. It's like you have all of this and none of this. And something I struggle with to this day, however I've made incredible strides, is that yes, okay, I go to work, I put that in perspective. I'm married, I have to spend time with my wife. I have to go over her, I have to meet her at her. I have 3 kids, I have to spend with them. I have to pour into them, I have to do this. Then I work at church, I have to do all this. You know, I mean, it was about staying busy. We all know staying busy is the key. One of the keys to being money. You have to stay busy, you have to help. So I started serving. But finding the balance and consciously every day going, okay, if somebody asks you to do something or you add something new into your life, it's okay, how am I balancing this out with something else? Because as soon as as an addict, start obsessing about one thing too much, it starts swinging. And that is the day I start using it again. Because in 6 months, I'll start using it. As soon as something happens here that is not right, everything, it just starts, the dominoes start falling out of place, and I will be back in. And so, for me, if I give any advice, is consciously every day, balance your day out, balance your week out, and stay busy. Find something that you're passionate about. Do it for free. Outside of your work, outside of yourself. Because as soon as I started playing guitar at church full time, my life started coming together. Not because I'm supposed to be playing guitar, that's a totally separate issue. But it's about finding something you're passionate about, be good at, and just doing it. for somebody else, so somebody else can enjoy it, you know, and that goes for ushers or greeters or people who hang with the kids on Sunday or whatever. So, even if it's just not on Sunday, find something to do. You know, so just, but you can't do only that. You have to find other people to hang with and be friends with. You have family, you know, it's balance. That's all I can say. It's just that there has to be some sort of balance in your life. Without it, I'm lost.
Like you said, find something that you're good at, find something that you can do. God's given each and every one of us in here a talent. And I'm going to ask this on Sunday, what? Something on my face? Oh. But I'm gonna ask this on Sunday. Are you guys using your gift? Or are you just gonna leave it? What are you doing with what God's given you? You know, the richest place in the world are cemeteries because there's so many books, there's so many CDs, there's so many songs that never will get written because people are too scared. It takes courage to go after things you have no idea about. What if I make the wrong choice? What if I do this? But God's given this. It's like having a present underneath the Christmas tree. You're like, no, not this year. I'll open it next. No, I don't know what's in that box. It might be something bad. But He calls us to use those gifts. He calls us to find them. There's a lot of there's some big time things just in this room alone that can change the world. And I hope you guys find them. And I hope you use them. We're going to take a break right now, and then when we come back, he's going to talk about music a little bit, and then I was going to order pizza for everyone. If you guys are nice.
I'm always
Oh, we don't.
Come back. Did they come back? Did we get them again? Ah!
And then I glued it back all back together, and then I thought I lost this piece, and then I found it in a toolbox like a week later. I just haven't gone downstairs and glued it in yet. But like this thing is, you can hear it's like a record. It's like the electronic. I don't even know if that works. But rattling sometimes.
You throw the pick?
It's not glued, huh?
You throw the pick?
I glued it both ways.
I was trying to remember from your testimony, you taught yourself to play, right?
Oh yeah.
And how many years ago?
Oh, I started when I was 22, so 14 years ago. But you know, through all of that, well, there was like 6. When I was fully into it, like for the last 4 years, I never really picked it up. I picked it up seriously the first 2 years, and then like so everything else has just been in between the time figuring stuff out, just not. It's been in the car. I just need to play a song. I think I'm close. I thought I had enough to bring it, but I forgot it was too weird. Yeah, so this, when I was working at a Guitar Center, I bought this on a clean. But it's destroyed for a reason. It was destroyed. It's interesting, all of my instruments kind of have some sort of restoration story. I'll show you my electric in a minute, but like I bought this, I was at the Guitar Center, and then I got to be honest, I was working there. But God, I was leaving, I don't have a big acoustic. My son, it was in, I dropped it when I was cooking outside, like trying to get it on my back with that strap locks on. Dropped this crack here was already here, because it hit right here. And so it still worked, it was fine. But I brought it in to my wife was scheduled to be abused. So I brought it into the labor room, and my son was born, and then this was blank at the time, and they started doing the footprints and stuff, and it was just like, boom, put him on here. So it was really cool. The nurse was like perfect. She was like, yeah, come over, and she nailed it, and then so these are on there. And then I had the plan. Since then, I mean, we know how attic plans go. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get the other kids on. And now my son's 2.5, and nothing's been done. So I finally ordered these. This is like probably 3 or 4 months ago. This guitar was destroyed 2 months ago. This is like probably 4 months ago. And I mean, it was destroyed to the point where I didn't think we would play again. But this guitar kind of goes along with this restoration. Kind of goes along with my weight loss journey. I've lost 96 pounds. Like 5 months, 5.5, 6 months ago. It's just another addiction. So I was eating too much, kind of balance with that. And so towards the beginning of that, I was very angry, and I still occasionally enjoy alcohol. That's never been an issue for me. But one night I just, all week my kids were just ramping up. I finally put their handprints on it. It was done. Put it away. I was practicing on the Sunday night for the next week, and my kids just all day were just ramping up. It was making me so angry. And so we're putting him to bed, and then I see my son open up the fridge, and he has, one of those pure filter water things, a big jug, just has it, and he's just pouring it all in the kitchen. And so I just immediately went into a rage, and I do have anger issues if I don't keep them in check. And so I grabbed his shoulder, and I whipped him away from, just way too hard. Luckily, my wife was there. She took him